what Nate has and what I love about him, another musician he works with was taking a lot of hate right now. And he goes, yeah, you know what though, Dad, it's good to get hated on. It's good karma for you. If you take it like a man, the universe goes, okay, cool. You know, it was rough. It will give you something good right now. And I was like, I've never thought of it that way.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Hey, this is Jim Breuer.
What's up, man?
What's happening?
Dude, you've been hitting the gym, man. You just sat down and your arms were like,
Yeah.
Wow.
dude.
Well,
Jim Breuer, bouncer. Security. Dude, he has such security vibe. He's always looked like a cop, but now he does look like bouncer. Like, can I see some ID? Oh, I don't have it. No ID, no show. Move along. Well, wait, did you hear what I said? ID or you don't get in. Okay, got it.
Oh my God. For all those you listening, I've been hijacked. This is Joe Sibb.
Yeah.
that's Joe Sibb's voice. What's going on with you?
Dude, I'm hanging.
All right, can I just tell everyone?
Yeah, what?
And if you're just listening, do yourself a favor. If you're listening on Spotify, hit the video and you can watch this. It's so much more fun to watch. Joe sends me a text that and it's not a text of like, hey, friend to friend. This is like a dad excited beyond belief. We're talking, and I know we talked about this before, and this is what, listen, there's so many parents out there, you don't know where your kids are going. We were on top of the world, and Joe Sibb, we just left the Metallica tour. We did 36 cities with Metallica. We're living on tour buses. We're eating we're highlight arenas. It's what a life. I get this text from Joe. He's like, bro, Nate's in Amsterdam. He rented out a boat. He's going down the canals
With his lady.
sober with his lady. He's going, Dad, you got to move to Amsterdam. That was
the whole thing, because, you know, and I've shared it on here, and Nate talks about it all the time. You know, Nate, unfortunately, he went down that road for a good 4 or 5 years that just did not look like it was ever going to end good, and it was bad. And Jim, you know, Jim was sitting shotgun with me the whole entire time going through it, and not going through it as like two comics on the road, just two dads, you know, just like, what is going on?
Think about this.
Okay.
Anyone, and I tell my kids this, and I tell so many people this, like when you're going through stuff and you don't ever see there's an end or whatever, think of that timeline. So he's 14. So he's 20 now, 21.
He's 20. He'll be 21 in July.
Just about 6 years ago.
6 years.
Doesn't that 6 years ago seems like almost like another lifetime?
Oh gosh, it was. But the thing that I got to say is that there was times, and I can speak that I didn't think it would end. I really didn't, dude. I thought it was so much going to go another way. I didn't know how it would end up for him. And if I did think I knew how it ended up, it wasn't going to be positive. And I was living in when you're in that state, you're living in just this state of, it's never going to get better. And literally I always say this, it doesn't turn out the way you think it's going to turn out. And this story did not turn out the way that, I mean, my dad and I were talking. Nate called me today from Brussels. He's in Brussels. He's probably on stage right now. He's like, yeah, Dad, I'm in, and he's telling me, he's like, yeah, you know, probably just going to go to Italy for like 2 months and record. Like, if you want to come over, you know, I'll dial you in. And I'm like, dude, I get it. I'll just hang back and drink espresso and like not, he goes, yeah, you know, not go for the like advice, like just kind of come and hang. I'm like, I'm in, dude. Like, I'm so ready to not give advice, dude. I'm so ready. No more advice. Dude, you ruled it. I mean, even with his record deal, it's like, it was crazy, but I'm so blessed and so grateful, man. So grateful.
It's just so. But what's okay? Just you saying that too, because I watched you go through the whole. For those of you who don't know, like Joe's son gets this record deal. Like
you were with me doing the deal.
Right. I'm in the car as Joe's working the deal every day. And when I tell you this was, I wish Joe was managing me at that time, because this kid went from 40 cents to like $5,000.
Yeah.
That's the span of how much this amount grew that they end up signing your son for. It was
to Republic. Yeah. Republic Records. But what Nate has and what I love about him is that even today he said something to me. He said, there was one of his another musician he works with was taking a lot of hate right now, and I go, yeah, man, I saw some of that. And he goes, yeah, you know what though, Dad? He goes, if you don't get hated on, he goes, you know what? It's good to get hated on. I go, why? He goes, it's good karma for you, because the universe, if you take it like a man, the universe goes, okay, cool. You know, it was rough. It will give you something good right now. And I was like, I've never thought of it that way.
I wonder if that's the amount of information they have now, because think about it. Think about this. Yes, you can find really terrible things on like Instagram and or whatever. You're going to find terrible things wherever you go. But think of all the things now. It's like, hey, raise your consciousness.
Yeah.
Hey, forgive your mom from the past, and whatever it is. There's all this like self-help, spiritual, deeper things, and the kids are learning.
Yeah.
Outside the realm like we did. If we didn't have like if I didn't have anyone teaching you your lifetime, no one's talking to you about,
no,
you
you're
know
right.
what? Slow down, take the pace. So it's kind of I think that generation.
I agree with you 100%, because when I went out on the road and visited him on the road, the kids that he's hanging around with, the kid that took him on the road, this great artist, this cool kid named Tu Hollis, they've been best friends since they were in like fifth grade together.
Is that the kid he's touring with?
Yeah,
sorry.
that's a kid he's touring with, Tu Hollis. That's the
and this is another thing. The two of them grow up together.
Oh, they grew up together.
This is dream come true.
Dude,
right, sorry.
And really quick, the thing that's so great about the story is Hollis always believed in Nate. And when Nate was in that bad space and wasn't sober, Hollis said, hey man, I can't hang with you. Like, that's not my scene. And if if you can get it together, love to hang out with you again. 5 years go by and then they reconnect. And then Hollis is the kid that goes, dude, you got to release music. And he really pushed Nate to do it. Nate was always kind of like, I don't know, dude, I think I can. I don't know. I mean, should I? And Hollis was like, shut up, record. We're doing this. And they released the first single. And that was what started everything for Nate. He really pushed Nate. Great friend. Just a great, great friend. Yeah. So it was crazy.
Bro.
The crowds he's in front. Mike, do you have that? Mike, like, I think Mike put something up for a second, just so that people could see. Here he is in action. Where is he? This is in New York City. Just one dude on stage too. Oh, here it goes. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, this one is got bouncing.
Yeah, we gotta get the bouncing in there. Yeah. Here we go. There's the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Gonna be great when you see Jim and I out there and everyone's like, dude, who are these two guys?
Who are the guys with the readers on?
Yeah.
The kids seem to like it.
You know what's funny though, Jim, is I love, like, I was talking to Monty Franklin about it, talking to you about it, and Monty said the same thing as you, because he was on that ride with me as well. He's like, dude, mate, we gotta go and just crash backstage, and Nate has to take care of us because he put us on the ropes, mate. And I was like, oh my God, Jim said the same thing. We're just gonna be backstage with our IPAs. Who are those three guys?
Nate, can you get us some more? There's no more beers or nothing. Do they have M&Ms too? Do they have any more M&Ms? Bro, see if they can order a pizza. Thanks, Nate. Nate, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
you, bro. Good for you,
Yeah.
bro.
Oh my God, so great. I love it. I love it.
Good. So today we're just going to do something fun. We're just going to talk about
Bands that changed your life.
bands
that changed our
that
lives.
changed our lives. I will put the. I think I already know where Joe's gonna go. Let me write down what I think he's gonna say.
Oh, dude, come on.
I know. So I'll let you take the arena first.
I would say there's two bands that changed my life. The first one is the Ramones. And the Ramones for me represent simplicity, and it's neat and it's perfect, but there's just a chorus to every song. It's no different than the Beach Boys. In fact, they were inspired by the 50s and 50s music. To me, it was so neat. It was so neat and clean. I love that there wasn't lead guitar. I didn't know at the time, but I love the Ramones. To me are like it's like the way I pack my suitcase. It's neat, it's clean, it's perfect. You know what you're getting, and I loved it. And the simplicity it attracted to me and attracted me to them, and what I loved about them, and also the way they looked, the way they sounded, I loved. And then the second band that made me think and made me think globally and made me go, wow, I've never heard these concepts before. And the musicianship, and it took what the Ramones were doing and even made it go wider, was the Clash. And that to me was, so you had the love of the Ramones and the simplicity and the leather jackets, but then with the Clash, you had records like London Calling that fused punk rock and reggae. And to me, like, I never had listened to reggae in my life. I grew up in Santa Cruz, but like, I just didn't listen to it. But when I started hearing, off the first record, they covered Junior Marvin's song, Police and Thieves. And I remember it was just, wow. And then and when I say, wow, I'd never heard music played that way. And it also, I loved how that music had inspired them. And then when they released, they released a record called, a movie called Rude Boy, and it followed them around on the road. And that was when I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. This is so, and it didn't seem unattainable, because the way they talked to their crowd, the way they talked to their fans, who they were, Joe Strummer, Mick Jones, Topper, Paul Simonon, they just looked so cool all the time. And then what kind of happened after that was the Ramones and the Clash were so up there. They seemed even though they were, they were bands that were punk rock bands, but they still were like the cream. They were the cream of the crop. They were the best, And then what happened for me was when I got into punk rock, and there's the first wave of punk rock, which is, it's the Pistols and it's all that. And then the second wave is the bands like Black Flag, the Circle Jerks, and bands like Social Distortion. And for me, the first band I ever saw live was Social Distortion. And to this day, I was 15 years old, and it was at San Jose City College. And what Social Distortion had was they had songs with huge choruses. So it was very like, okay, they're giving you that, but then they had a look, like it wasn't the Clash's look, but they had a look. You had Mike Ness. I'd never seen a dude my age with a tattoo. You're like, holy shit. He had the eyeliner on and the chains and the hat. And you're like, you just couldn't take your eyes. And then each dude in the band had a different look. You had Dennis Donnell on guitar. He had his own look. And then you had Brett on bass. He had his own look. And then you had the drummer, and it's like, you were like, oh, and then they were also I'd never seen a band that were people that were relatively near my age that were playing songs of their own that spoke to me, and there were their own choruses. And it was so huge. And then that, Jim, that just opened the gateway, to the Circle Jerks, to Adolescents, to Minor Threat out of DC. I mean, Minor Threat was, they were another band that just spoke to me lyrically. And that really, to me, those bands were really the foundation of what everything to come was going to lay on. Like what, even when I started Side One Dummy, I was always into lyrics. I was always into the message,
So,
it spoke to me.
Well, I get all that. So how did it ever infiltrate your decisions in life? Like
Absolutely.
like real personal decisions, like a certain song.
I never have done drugs. I've never done drugs in my entire life because bands like Minor Threat. Because they were like,
drug.
Well, I mean, I smoked weed. I freaked out. I smoked weed.
Never did
You know the
bad
story. I
stuff.
smoked weed.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying like I've never done cocaine. I've never taken
Anything
pills.
hard.
I've
Anything
never
hard,
done
yeah.
anything hard. I've drank, but
But
when I
what
was
kept you
younger,
from doing that? What kept
I
you
would
from
say
doing Go on.
I would say bands like Minor Threat and a band called
Why is
7
that?
Seconds. Because Minor Threat was a band out of DC and they started a movement called Straight Edge. And there was bands like SSD Control out of Boston, and there was another band out of Reno called 7 Seconds. And this movement that these kids had started was about it was all about like don't drink, don't smoke, and it was just about like, dude, we're not going to grow up to be our parents and work some shitty job and then come home and drink a bottle of bourbon and just wither away into the couch. We're going to be positive. We're going to be in a band. We're going to be positive in the sense of the world doesn't suck. Instead, we're going to put on a show. We're going to put on a skateboard contest. We're going to take photographs and start our own zines. We're going to do things our way. And that mentality of the DIY, do it yourself attitude and this not sober, like, hey dude, if you're not sober, you're lame. It was just like, why waste your time with that? Like, and also the dudes that I knew that were sober were some of the craziest people I knew. I'm like, dude, this guy just did a stage dive and did off the balcony and he's sober. I'm like, yeah, that's my crew. Like, let's up and be sober. Let's scare people, but we're sober. If I can scare people and have them go, oh shit, I'm walking on the other side of the street and I'm sober, how powerful is that? I loved it.
Yeah, no. That I think it matched I think you also fell in love with that energy.
I love the energy. I love, yeah. I mean, I love the energy of a show. I always, you know what it is? I know for a fact.
Yeah.
Really quick, the last thing I'll say is this. I know for a fact that if you and I were at the same high school when we were kids, you and I would have been bros. For a second, you would have been like, I don't know if I like that guy. And then somehow or another, you and I, we'd be bros. And I know for a fact, I would have talked you into, I would have known what band to take you to. I would have been like, bro, you're coming with me to see the Bad Brains. You're like, dude, I'm not going to see the Bad Brains, bro. And I'd be like, dude, just come with, and you'd go, dude, that guitar player. And I'd be like, I know. And you'd be like, duh. And the next thing you know, you go, and maybe you go for like one night, but then the next thing though, you'd be like, yo, dude, like you'd reach out. You'd be like, yo, so like, what's going on with you this weekend? And I'd tell you, well, Verbal Abuse is playing. You're like, what are they like? I'm like, they're kind of mad. You're like, should I go? And I'd be like, yeah. And you'd want to go because you would have loved it because there would have been some people with herb. There would have been some people with beers. You would have found like a cool group. You'd be like, you know what? I like going to those shows because everyone's cool to me. I don't have to do, you know what I'm saying? There was a good energy. And you would be like one of those dudes that I brought to shows that maybe didn't love the band, but they definitely loved the energy and just being there and felt accepted. And were like, you know what, dude, this isn't my scene all the time, but I like coming once in a while. And I know for a fact, because I did that to people and they would come to shows and they were like, they started going. I would see them one night. So that was it for me. That's what hit me, those bands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always more, it's like, all right. So for me, I'll start the obvious music, but it really affects my life as far as the way I live, like on every facet. That's the so in other words, believe it or not, I think it was Foreigner, Jukebox Hero.
Okay.
Was the first, because like you, I loved pop music. Pop music, and that's either was what was all over, and that's all you heard, and that's what, and yeah, because all I knew was pop music as a little kid. Yeah. But then that Foreigner song, Jukebox Hero, I don't know what happened. What I fell in love with was a chug. Yeah. Chug of a guitar. Started rocking down, 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 down. Just can't stop down, down, down. And I started finding myself looking for chugs. Then I remember falling in love with the song Living After Midnight. Wah, 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 wah. It was a little heavier than I heard. And then obviously Metallica brought, for me, Metallica, I literally would use, I would say they were the closest thing to if you went to a church. So it was like, today we're going to learn about false idols and be careful of. So, like with the church world, I would read Leper Messiah. And I'd look, first I'd be into the song. They'd have, everything was this hook and it'd bring you into the movie. And then you'd have your own visual of what it was. And you had enough time to go on that visual. And then the story took you on a whole, for me, it was always about the visual and the story in my head. So like Leper Messiah actually reinforced for me how I saw organized religion. So I feel like Metallica reinforced a lot of my inner visions in life. And I think that's to the point where I was always like, how would Metallica be in this world? How would Metallica be with this special? I don't want this special to be funny. I want it to be like Metallica. So when you go there, even with stand-up, my stand-up, I go there to kill you. Anyone that's ever seen me do stand-up, I'm not, yes, I'm there to make you laugh, but I'm there to make you laugh and I want to see you barreled over. That's when I'm at my, beyond my top game. When I see you barreled over, that kid, 18 years old in my basement, it's surfing. For me, it was that aggressive energy that I was able to take control of and ride on the chugs that,
Yeah.
and then it would bleed into the lyrics. Like, do you know the song Leper Messiah?
I know the song, but I mean, of course, that's what
Right.
record's that off of?
I think it's Masters. You get this whole spineless from the start, sucked into the part, circus comes to town, you play the lead clown. And then it's, talking about spreading his disease. But the line that really got me on that, send me money, send me green, heaven you will meet, make a contribution, you'll get a better seat. And to me, that's every time I would go to like church and stuff, I'd be like,
Yeah.
dude, what? There's something, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to church, but I would see things that are, witchery weakening, sees the sheep are gathering, set the trap, hypnotize, now you follow. And to me, that's not just religion. That was government. That was, for me, that was anything that goes out of all the false idols that control our lives. It just reinforced me to think deeper, believe it or not. And then the other one was, and I'm sure a lot of soldiers, I mean this in no disrespect, and you have to understand, I come from a family that has been in war, police officers and that. So, and what the anger I have towards people that send them in harm's way, and we just have to blindly follow. When I heard Disposable Heroes by Metallica, that to me was the ultimate. Mike, you get the lyrics of, okay, this song, when he Soldier Boy made of clay, now an empty shell, 21, only son, but he served us well. bred to kill, not to care. Do just as we say. Finished here. Greetings, death. He's yours to take away. And the following, if you really think about all wars, and I know maybe we should have ended with your music because yours makes you. Mine was my deep, deep feelings towards so many things in life that I thought was unfair to humanity, even at a young age. And how many people, when he would say, this is, go up a little bit, Mike. To me, this is the most, I still live like this, where it's like, you will do, if this was a movie scene and they went, you will do what I say when I say back in the front, and you will die when I say you must die. Back in the front, you coward, you servant, you blind man. Back in the front. 21. All this. To me, bro, before anytime any soldier gets sent to fight for anything, I think of those lyrics and I go, why are you listening to that? What, we're trained to just take orders. Well, what if the order givers are not doing the right thing by you? Bro, the Metallica,
I mean,
it made me question
the thing
everything.
The thing that I'm seeing though, dude, the thing that I'm seeing though is that like you and I aren't, there isn't like a distance between what we're saying from each one of our love of music, because the only thing, like what I would say, no, there isn't, because I'm sitting here like, when you're like, for you, it's Leper Messiah. For me, a band that influenced your boys Metallica to the point that they took their sound man, a band called GBH out, from over in England, huge band. GBH, huge influence on the guitar tone. Yeah, look, GBH, huge influence on I remember when GBH came, GBH was a band. You've seen James wear the t-shirt a million times. They were a band, 80s. They came over here from England. I think they were from Brighton, but like they had a song called Generals. And I saw them in 1982, they came over and they had this song called Generals. And I remember hearing that song Generals, and the lyrics spoke to me because it was the first time ever. But what I'm saying is Metallica, great studio recordings, just bigger, huge. My bands that spoke to me, because the thing that I'm realizing also, like the lyrics to just Generals, really simple. We'll lead you into victory. You heard the generals say, never look behind you. We're with you all the way. Go to bed early. Conserve your energy. Tomorrow you'll be fighting with the enemy. Polish your boots. Clean your gun. Killing these bastards will be a lot of fun. Take no prisoners. Kill them all. Start to march when you hear the call. Britain needs you. Britain needs you. Marching to victory. Marching in the mud. Fighting for freedom. Fighting in the blood. There's dead bodies all around. You're told to carry on. Death is not right. The war cannot be won. So that song's written before Leper. That's written before Leper Messiah, dude.
Wow. And then that's got to be, when did For Whom the Bell Tolls?
So what I'm saying is,
what year is that?
I'll tell you right now. This is 1981.
All right, hold on. Let's see when, because to me, For Whom the Bell Tolls is more like that. For whom? Oh, what about even before that? Wait a minute. You got No Remorse, No Regret. 83.
So 81 was GBH. 83 is that. So that makes sense. So all I'll say is, what I'm going to say is this, Jim. For me, what I think, and this is maybe where, I don't want to say the difference or just what attracted me. I think your parents were together when you were into Metallica, correct?
This is what I was thinking about when you were talking about.
So check it out.
Yeah.
My parents broke up. My parents broke up, and I'm at 10 years old.
You left the party.
Ended.
You were just like, keep the party going.
Dude,
you left the party.
I left the party.
I was there. My family didn't break up, but some of my family was going through a breakup, and I was traumatized by that. I saw a couple things that went down that really made me so angry, helpless, and aggressive.
Yeah.
And this was such an incredible outlet for me. It was almost like reading books and go, oh, okay, so this guy,
Yeah.
oh, that's what's going on. And yours was like,
I wanted to belong to something. I wanted
yes,
I had just left
yeah.
the party, the mom and dad, everyone together, everyone raging, not raging like they were alcoholics or anything, but it was
No,
just
you would
like
talk
there was
about
a
it,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, there's just everyone around, Uncle Bob, Aunt Jeannie, everyone there. You know all the players. So imagine that all goes away. It's like when you go to, it's like, it's the feeling I get whenever we leave a venue.
Yeah.
You this theater, and we just did this comedy show, and now everyone's gone, and it's just there's a sadness to an empty venue, and there was a sadness. So for me, with punk rock, it made me go, oh my God, this is my new family. These are my new people. These are my new brothers and sisters. These are my new teachers. These are the people. But when you speak about the lyrics and you speak about it, it's the same thing. I remember this band Los Olvidados had a song called Paid Salvation. Take it out of your pocket, put it on the tray. Today is your day. Like that spoke to me about, wow, I've never heard someone, comment on religion that way. So it's
Right.
really I really think the deciding
It's
factor for maybe me and you was my parents split up. I was seeking a new family and a new group of people. And I think for
Yep.
you, your family stayed together, and it feels like there was some anger from the way people were treating each other, but you're still in this underneath this roof. This music starts speaking to you, giving you
yes.
answers.
Right. Well, it would give me the answers. And yes, it was like, I was a happy kid. I feel like I was a very happy kid, but I was feeling the pain of others. I would feel the pain of when my uncle, my dad would talk about war. Like my uncle lost his kid in Vietnam. He went missing. A Breuer
Yeah.
went missing. And so, and I'd hear my uncle, and then, the cops telling their stories, and then watching this divorce go down, and the man is violent with the woman and the kid. There was violence. So it's
Yeah.
like this, but yet they go to church and they say this. I was questioning school, everything. I'm like, everything, you're out of order. You're out of order. You're all out of order. Play me a Metallica song now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing though how that shapes our lives.
Oh, it's crazy, right?
But it's amazing. It's kind of cool. So
yeah,
today was fun.
Dude, so fun. I feel like it's funny too, because it's like, the last thing I'll say is, how many times have we said to each other, at least for me, when we're on the road or whatever, and we'll say, dude, we got to be punk rock. Don't tell those guys right now, we're not doing that. That's where, when you say, does it still believe in your, does it still happen to me all the time? I'll be like, no way, dude, I'm not doing that. That guy's being lame, we got to do it. Be punk rock.
Yeah. Be punk rock. But another thing, just real quick, is
yes,
people may not know, Joe, when I first met him, had this project called California Calling, right?
Yeah.
And he performed it out in California. And I thought it was a really cool one-man show. It was, it was really cool. So, and then in my head, I'm like, dude, we got to write this movie about the day, whatever. And you start trying to get each other excited or get his flames going some more. And, here we are a couple years later, and this August, one of the biggest comedy festivals in the entire world, I believe it's called the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And I did it, God, in 1995 or 1996. And it, hands down, it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had in my life. It's entertainers from all over the world, and they play in venues everywhere. And there's one venue that has a main stage with all these other side stages. I did a side stage. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm actually wouldn't mind finishing a project that we're all kind of still working on here. We did that is the thing I would love to bring to Edinburgh next year. But
Yeah.
what's even cooler than that is Joe Sibb is in the comedy festival in Edinburgh. And the most heartbreaking thing for me is when you first told me, I'm like, I couldn't even get excited. I was like, oh no. I'm going away for an entire month. I am the African man. I'm going for a whole month from like August 2nd to September. But you're there the first 3 weeks. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I hope people fly over
I
there.
can't wait
come
to go,
check it
man.
out. Are we gonna?
So what
How
I got?
is the one man show going? I know you sent me a copy. I want to check it out.
Yeah. You know, yeah. So check it out. The copy I sent though was like that's like from
Yeah, but it's
12
raw.
years
You don't
ago.
have to explain
It's
yourself.
raw. It's raw. No, but where
Yeah.
it is now, is where I'm at right now is that I'm in charge. Like, so basically when you go over to Edinburgh, you got to get a place to stay. You gotta book your, I have a promoter. He booked the venue. They put it it goes out in the Edinburgh Fringe Comedy Festival catalog that comes out next month. So we had to get that approved. Then you had to get the picture approved. You had to get the synopsis of the story approved. So all of the like nuts and bolts of it, that's all there. And a month from yesterday, I'll be doing my first rehearsal show out here in California in Carlsbad. And then I'm booking as I'm doing stand up because I'm coming out to do all that stuff with you. I'm doing the stand up, but at the same time, I'm booking these one-off rehearsal shows, work in progress for California Calling. But what I'm so excited about is that I've already begun doing sections of it. Like the other night I was on the phone with Margot and she's like, "What's the show about?" And like, it was like, I told her the first 20 minutes of it and she was like, "Oh my God, like this is cool. Like I get it. Like, okay, I get what what the vibe of the show is." So I'm excited. And it's going to be a trip because as you know, you go over there, you do the show for 30 days. I have my set time. I'm every night, 9 p.m. I'm in this really cool venue, holds about like 60 people. And the guy's already told me, he's like, "You're going to get a lot of punches in there, mate." And I'm like, all right, they're going to come in and a lot of other comics, I talked to Greg Barrett, and he was like, "Dude, it didn't go well for me." And I've read and I've heard and I've talked to people that are like, it breaks comics down. Like there's whole things on YouTube of comics having meltdowns over there.
Well, I'll tell you why. We are used to everyone's there to see stand-up comedy. You come and then there's a pre-video. Bah, bah, bah. Welcome to Johnny Fart Farts and Johnny Fart Farts. Here's who's coming. You go through that old rigmarole. And then it's like, "Are you ready to get the show started? Here we go with our first comedian of the night." There's none of that.
None.
So you literally, if I could suggest something to you, either a voiceover or like you said, set the mood with music.
Yep.
You set that room up because it's just a room. It's a quiet room. This is the thing that threw me off with touring anywhere over the ocean. And there's no like, "Ladies and gentlemen," it's just, you just walk on stage. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Now think of some people wanted to see something else and it's sold out. So they're like, "All right, we just go watch this bloke. I know. So yeah, we'll check it out." And you also going to get people that are like, "I don't want to see an American," or whatever it is. You don't know who's walking in the room. That's number one. The best thing you could do is set up that opening. Just set up that opening, set up some type of vibe, either right before it starts or just as it's starting. I don't know what that is. You'll figure it out. You're an expert at that. For me, because that throws your whole. It throws your whole. It's so awkward.
It's not so much about doing a show.
It's
It's like everyone knows. The hardest part of doing it is waiting, and then the hardest part is what's that first 2 minutes about. That's it. Because at that point you know as better than anyone, it's like you have to grab them, and if you can get them, boom, you're off and running. But if that first 2 minutes or minute and a half doesn't go well, that's a long 51 minutes up there.
I think though, I've watched you over the last couple of years. I think your awareness of how to adapt to the situation and calling that situation out. You know, like I'll go to a show and I have no problem calling something out.
Yeah.
You know, you heard that fart I just did, right? I'm not gonna listen. I'm not stupid. You just saw me trip, whatever. I've seen you. If a room is uncomfortable for you,
Yeah.
you won't insult them, but you'll acknowledge a situation.
Yeah.
I think with those skills and how good this show is going to be, you're going to have a much better time than you anticipate.
I'm excited, man. I mean, I will say though that opening for you for the last, X amount of years from when it started to when it, and I definitely, cause if you think about it, I've had to come on stage every night opening for Jim Breuer and no one wanting to see me. Not like everyone, like they're angry. They were pissed about parking. Their kid smarted off on the way there. The tickets, why one of the guys doesn't want to go and his wife did, and then the wife doesn't want to go because she doesn't want to hear about Metallica. And now why is this guy out here? Oh my God, this black shirt, slick back. Oh, I don't like Italians. I think honestly, and that to me has been, I think, really the training ground for what I'm going to have to go with over there, because everything you said. I remember you saying to me once when I was on stage, you said, just so you know, no, they're here to they're not here to see you. And I was like, yeah. And you're all, and at 20 minutes, even if you're killing, you will see them literally switch to like, wait a minute. I don't care how good, where's Jim? Where's Jim? And I remember the first night I saw that and I was like, oh he knows his crowd. They've had enough of this guy.
They're very kind.
Yes.
They're very kind.
But they're not there to see you. They're there to see Jim. But I'm hoping that
you started bringing it though. You started bringing it though.
I'm hoping though that
you were bringing it.
I'm hoping, Jim, that we look back on that and go, that was really, because I really believe that was another thing I forgot what I was saying yesterday. Jim always has this thing like, I want stuff to happen right now. Like, I want to do this now. And Jim will, it'll happen when it's meant to happen. This is the first time with Edinburgh that you were like, dude, this is time. Yeah, this is going to be good. You never do that. You usually go like this.
You're
Jim,
right.
I'm going to do this. This is my imitation of Jim Breuer. So Jim, I'm going to do A, B, and C, and then G's going to come, and then L's going to be there, and then I'm doing C, D, and F, and you go like this. Yeah. Okay. All right. This was the first time that I'm going to Edinburgh, and I'm doing California, and you were like, dude, yes. Oh my dude. When are you going? Oh my God. I'm so bummed. Why? What's wrong? I'm going to be gone. Oh, dude. And you even called me back after our call to go, dude, this is really gonna be good. This is gonna be good for you, dude. Serious.
I'm telling you, and I'll tell you why. This has nothing to do with stand-up. Okay. There's other elements of you that have not been seen yet. And that California calling to, like, when you first said, I'm going to Edinburgh, blah, blah, blah. When you said it was for California calling.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, I think that, in my honest opinion, that's the breakout, dude.
Well, I'm excited.
I told you, I said, no offense to stand up.
No, I get it.
That's got a whole different look, and that's got a whole different vibe, and that is so in your eye. I'm excited.
And the kid's gonna come over the third week.
Awesome.
James, yeah.
That's the week of the fireworks there too. They have a huge fireworks show in the castle. Everyone in the town goes outside. There's thousands and thousands of people waiting for it's the end of the festival. There's a big firework display. It's pretty awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time.
Well, dude, thank you so much for having me today, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, good seeing you, Joe.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks for Naples.
Yeah, I'll see you at Off the Hook Comedy Club. I'm not sure if there's tickets left, anyone. I apologize, but
I can't wait to hang with Rich.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be
the best. All right, man. Thank you. Later, brother.
All right, Joe Sibb. Joe Sibb's, he's got dates, so check him out. I'm super excited for I'm really excited for his Edinburgh thing. That is, I think the timing for Joe it's absolutely incredible timing for him because his personal life is in, when your personal life is in order and it's like, okay, everything is settled. You watch your friend going through, this is heading in that direction. Oh no, and this is heading in this. Everything around him seemed to finally level out where he can relax. I'm speaking for Joe. I'm just talking as a friend, as if he's not here. But if I was talking about my friend Joe and like he didn't know and this would never get out there, this is what I would say. Here's the thing what I'm most excited about for Joe Sibb. He's been battling life so hard as a dad, trying to be a husband, ex-husband, just he's a people pleaser. And now that I see so many things in his life has balanced out and where he doesn't feel he has to try to help or worry about the timing of him going to Edinburgh this summer. I'm so excited for my buddy. It's really cool. If you have, I am so heartbroken that I'm going to miss that. But if you want to do a cool trip, even just go to Edinburgh in the summertime, even just to go there, they got this. It's one of the biggest festivals in the world. And there's, like I said, there's people from all over the world there. The pubs are amazing. It's one of the best times I had in my life, to the point where last year I was asking if I can get back in there, but I had a show, but I didn't really have a show. It's something that I would like to go back to because I don't care about the money anymore and I don't care about that. So it's more like passion and what I want to do. And I know the project I want to do. But yeah, I'm excited for Joe Sibb. Today was cool. I'm sure there's tons of music you listen to do. Did you hear what I just said? Listen to do? Listen to do.
Listen to do.
I don't know where these things come. I don't know why this comes out of my mouth. There's plenty of bands that you listen to that completely changed your life. Like that Metallica culture, music infiltrated my thought process, the way I feel about things, relationships in my life. And although the music would be somewhat aggressive, it was an incredible and continues to be an incredible outlet. And also it's humbled me and it made me think so much more on so many different levels. So yeah, today was fun. I hope you had a good time and I hope maybe it gives you memories. And right now you're going to go drive and listen to the music that changed your life and you think about things. But at the end of the day, I hope you were entertained. That's all we're trying to do is today. Just let's turn our brains off and let's just turn the world off for an hour and talk about music and affecting our lives. Hope you have a good day and a good week. And as always, thanks for hanging out in the Breuniverse. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Mike. This is Jim Breuer, and I got my own Patreon page, and hopefully you'll check it out. Live comedy concert streamed once a month. Weekly, you host your own podcast, and you interview me. Early access to the Breuniverse podcast every single week, and I have bonus footage and bonus segments. I promise you I'm not going to let you down. Go check out my official Jim Breuer Patreon page, and I'll see you there.